Good morning, welcome back to my channel. I'm Oliver Phil, and this morning we're going to take a break from the Deutz, and I have to head out on a service call. Soon I'll be replacing my old service truck with the new one right there. A lot bigger, hopefully be able to carry more tools. But I gotta go look at a Toro Dingo. For those of you that have not seen one before, this will be kind of a cool little service call. I was told it is a no crank, no start condition. So sometimes that can be an easy one and sometimes it'll be hard, but we'll find out. I'm gonna bring you guys along and I'll catch you when we're there. All right, looks like it's a new build. You got the Dingo here tucked in the corner. Older unit, but been a good machine. Looks like they were trying to mess with it themselves. But let me get a stand set up here and see if we can't see what's going on. All right, so I got you set up. First thing I like to do is kind of verify the concern, see what's going on here. I got the key tied here. Like I said, they were messing with this before. Do have power on the cluster. Nothing with the switch. Looks down here on the starter. Oh, looks like they got an exciter wire for the starter unplugged. Let's plug it in. Okay, still nothing. All right, so let's get some tools out so we're not guessing on what's going on here. Also, it'd be good to check the oil. I never know what's going on. Don't want to be the one to crank it with no oil in it, even though they might have been. All right, what I'll use here is just a basic test light. I do have a nice power probe that also works. Well, we got battery voltage. Come down here and I'll check this exciter wire. I have nothing on the exciter wire, and I do have power to the starter. So let's trace some wires here. All right, so what I'll show you here. So if we come over here, try to get you in here. Here's the starter. They had already had this exciter wire pulled off. It goes right here on the starter, comes from the ignition. Right here is the battery cable. And I did not have, when I turned the ignition, power on the exciter wire. So what I'm going to do is trace this wiring. There is fuses on this machine and some relays, so I need to check that out and see if that is an issue that they're having. So I'm gonna get you set back here. I might be able to move you. Let's see where I can put you. I'm gonna see if I can get you in a better spot and bring you back on here. All right, you won't be able to see it real well, but I'll bring the camera in closer when I want to show you something here. Well, this blue wire turns into another blue wire, comes up Looks like it goes to a relay here. What I'm doing is checking for power down to the relay. What I believe is the relay, because there is not a diagram here. I'm just following the wires. So, if I got no power to that relay, let's check some of these fuses. Looks like that one's good. Be nice if some of these were labeled. We will label it somehow before I leave. Let's check another one here. So far, those are looking pretty good. We do have one here. Appears to be good. All right, let's cut a couple zip ties here and get this harness where I can look at it closer. Okay, so tracing my wires up, pulled the relay bank out. I am not getting power down to my ignition relay, so following it up here, I'm going to pull this ignition switch out so I can check the back side of it. So let's see if I can't get that ignition switch out. Oh, this ought to work. Definitely a tiny machine to get your hands up inside. Key point, don't lose anything. Let's see if we can even get this out. All right. It's pretty much like a lawn and garden ignition system for the most part. I know we have some power to the ignition already, so a little redundant check won't hurt. Alright, ignition power. Everything else, verify my ground, will be with the ignition switch. Alright, there's my ground. Which, if I verify, looks all right. Key, which is conveniently tied on here. All right, let's take this, hook that back up. All right. See where my yellow wire is. Oh, there, I'm getting signal out. Where's it going? It should be coming down here. All right, and then we are missing this. Alrighty, so we got ignition switch function now. Let's find the other wire to my relay that's not working. Get my hands are a little frozen. So now I need this other wire to have power on it, and it does not for my relay to work. It's definitely taken some time to get used to talking when I'm working on this equipment, because I don't normally talk while just working on this. It's new. Let's not do that. I don't know if that's a violet. It's hard to tell what that is. Color. It's a good thing I travel with zip ties, because I got to get all this put back. No wiring diagrams here, so you just kind of got to follow it. Okay, so following that wire that's missing from my relay, because I got to have my two powers on the relay and a ground for the relay to then switch and send power to my exciter wire. Following it up, looks like we head over to a safety switch. Okay, let's take a look. Looks like I got a safety here. Oh, what do we got here? Yeah, that's auxiliary power. That will do it every time. Let's see if it was that easy after they already tore it apart to mess with it. Not quite that easy. Let me get you back here and set. Set it back up and check. Unless we have a failed switch. Okay, let's check. See if I have power there. Ah, but I do now. Okay, well that being on definitely takes power away from that. So that gave me another power on my relay. Okay, what I have found is on this ignition switch, I have a battery power, an ignition's, in run position, ignition power. I have an R power, and then I have an accessory power. And this has 3 safeties on it. You got 2 safeties under your drive levers, and they're on the bottom of the valves. And then you have that safety that I found earlier that was on for the auxiliary hydraulics, and that needs to be in neutral. So everything with the relay that goes down to the starter, which is this relay here, I switched it out with a Ford relay that's black, that way the owner can know the difference. It was losing its safety power when I would try to crank it. So I was just verifying if there was any other safeties that were causing an issue, and I did not find any other issues there. So I called a buddy of mine to have him check the wiring diagram for this ignition switch, and I am losing my accessory power in the switch. So being that this switch is not readily available to let the customer keep going today, I asked him if he wanted me to move the accessory power wires to the ignition wire, and that should make all the safeties still work, because that's a big thing I want to keep working, and then the machine will work as it should, and then eventually can get a new ignition switch, or it could also stay that way until the rest of the switch eventually fails. But it gets used a lot, so switches wear out. They're just not necessarily, they're simple and cheap, but not necessarily readily available today on a Saturday. So let me do that, and then I'm going to bring you back to show you and verify that it works, and I'll tidy up all these wires again. Okay, so what I did here is removed the accessory wire power, and I tied it in with the ignition wire power. I used a red to blue butt splice, so they're all tied in, crimped and heat shrunk. And let's see, do a quick test, and then I'm going to finish zip tying and routing all these wires. All right. Wanted to make sure I showed you what I did for the repair before you couldn't see it. And relay cranks over now. Check my safety. If they left it in auxiliary, or the auxiliary remote hydraulics in gear, nothing. So safety still works. Now we're cranking. All right, so let's bring you over here. I got everything tidied up. See if I can't get a light. Okay, so we got all the wires here tucked up and zip tied out of the way. Relay bank is back in and mounted. Wires are all out of the way, best it can be. So now I've already checked the oil. So turn the key on, glow plug it. I'm also going to check the tire pressures and give this thing a once over on grease. Throttle. Oh, there we go. Okay, so got the cover on, keep my foot out of the belt and my legs. Fire it back up here. Starts like it should. Remotes work. Boom works, and she moves. So I'm gonna get you set up. And get this thing greased and the tire pressure set, and I think we'll call that a video. Be right back. Start the compressor here. Get all these tire pressures set. Always mud, a lot of mud. Two down. I prefer the tires than the tracks just because tracks are expensive, and every time I put tracks on, nobody will take the old ones. I feel like if you sell tracks, you need to take the old ones. tires are good. Right. Now, we'll get this greased. The battery was low on this Dingo, so I checked the charging system and I'm verifying that I give it a time to charge the battery, because evidently they worked their best at trying to drain the battery before I got here. Two on the front pins. And one pivot pin. There we go. Well, I think that about does it. I think we'll end up calling that a video. She works. I greased it. The tires are set. I gotta tell him he needs a new fuel cap. It is cracked. And see if he needs anything else. But again, I appreciate you guys watching. I don't mind if you leave a comment. I always like reading the comments. And please, if you haven't already, like and subscribe. And I'll catch you on the next video. I appreciate it. Thanks.